still single man, I was checking the flights back to Israel backstage, and I couldn't help but notice that they're a little bit restricted, and I imagine that is limiting tourism a little bit.
Just a little.
Just a little. And this war comes after, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this whole coronavirus thing that happened a while back. I think it was like 10 years ago. But it's just on the tail end of that. Can Israeli tourism recover?
Well, I sure hope so. So I actually worked in the world of Israel tourism for a little bit and lived through COVID as well as this war. And what I will say to you is that people who are really committed to going are still going to go, and which is pretty incredible when you see people coming. And in the last year of during COVID, JNF USA started a program of virtual tours, and we brought about 50,000 people to Israel during COVID virtually, which was pretty amazing. And then tourism came back, and then the war happened, and obviously things slowed down quite a bit. But in the last year, since December of 2023, we've brought about 4,000 volunteers to Israel with JNF, which is pretty amazing. And we come and we roll up our sleeves and we do the work. It's not about talking to important people and meeting this one and that one, but it's really going in and rebuilding and picking fruits and vegetables and pulling weeds and painting and planting flowers and making it so that people, when it's time for them to go back, will have a beautiful place to go back to. And we're continuing on. We've got missions, I think, over the next year still planned, with people signing up, bringing 100 to 200 people a month, a little bit less now because of the flights, but people are even working through that. So
you mentioned volunteering, and obviously that is an essential part to helping rebuild Israel. But philanthropy, donations, donors, they also play a vital role in restoring what's been destroyed. Has that field maintained since October 7th, or is it like tourism suffering?
I will tell you that I can't speak for other organizations, but as far as our organization is concerned, last year, our last fiscal year, we raised a record over $200 million, about $80 million over our budget. But not all of those dollars were for our emergency campaign, the campaign to rebuild the South and to reimagine the North. About half of those dollars were just general dollars that we would raise every year, and brought in about 43,000 new donors. As this year has begun, we're on track to maybe not raise the full $200 million, which was extraordinary, but to exceed our budget for the year and to retain many of those new donors, because people are committed, and because of the work that we do, people like to see where their dollars are going, and they can always see where their dollars are going with JNF USA.
So, like you said, obviously not all that money is going to rebuilding Israel, but could you share with us a few of the initiatives that you guys have put and invested into and developed to helping impacted communities? Lots of things that we're doing, and you've heard here today talk about rebuilding the OTEF and rebuilding what's happening, and we've been working in the OTEF for years. We didn't just come in as a result of October 7th, and so we've been working in that area for years. The minute October 7th came, we were on the ground. Actually, Russell Robinson was in the air when everything happened and landed right after the horrific events of October 7th. I was also there at that time. And immediately we put together a chamal, a space where what's needed, what are we going to do? And we started getting information from the people who live in the OTEF. What do you need? What can we do? Where can we be? And we began right away taking people, and we helped relocate 30,000 people away from their homes in the OTEF and to make sure they had a place to live. Now, since then, we've worked with evacuees, and now, as I said, we're working to rebuild the communities, and we bring the volunteers in to do some of that work, and we're also working with the communities every day to find out what they are going to need to not only move back, but to make it even more amazing than it was before. And I'll mention a couple of different things that we're doing. But one of it relates to Yaara Bank Plotkin mentioned that when she was in Israel, she went to Shlomit. And I believe that a group of women from Shlomit, widows from Shlomit, came to this region last week or something like that. And I was down in Shlomit a few weeks ago, last month or something, and we're building a 30,000 square foot community center. This community, they had 4 people who were defending a neighboring community, not even their own community. The men died, were murdered on October 7th as a result of that. And that community was living in a hotel for months. They finally moved back to their homes. And I get there, and I walk in, and I'm seeing a kindergarten filled with children singing, and their mothers are there, and including these widows, and hearing these women speak about their lives and saying, you know, we could live in sorrow, or we could live with the faith that we can move forward. And then we went to see this community center that's being built, that we're working to build. And so this is one initiative, building a 30,000 square foot community center in a community that has a waiting list of people who want to move back there. And it's right on the Gaza border. It's incredible. And building a new synagogue there. Building a sports center in Sha'ar HaNegev, which is being named after Ophir Liebstein, who was murdered on October 7th, mayor of the region. We are just opened this week, a new high school, Adam Va'adama in the Arava, where children are coming. It's a boarding school from all over the country to live there because they're committed to the Negev. In the north, we're also working, and God willing, now we are getting close to the day after, right? So again, we were there before, and even before October 7th, we were building a medical center in Kiryat Shmona. We continued to build all throughout the war, and it's being continued at this point. We imagine there's probably going to need 4 or 5 more medical centers in the north. Also emergency response centers, which are going to be required in order to ensure the security of people, so more people will continue to move to the north. There is one already in Kiryat Shmona, and we're building one in Kfar Giladi, and we anticipate putting another 3 or 4 as well. So those are just some examples of initiatives that we are already working on. So.
Well, those are amazing initiatives, and I want to thank JNF USA for their invaluable work, and we feel the support of the diaspora community. So I want to thank you, and I want you to convey our thanks also to Russell as well.
Will do, and thanks for the opportunity.